Tell us a bit of the story about George Best, because you played his debut, 3 different debuts you marked him. So it was like his league debut,
Central League, League debut, international debut. Well, if he hadn't have played against me, he wouldn't have been a good player. I made him into a good player. Yeah, George and I became quite good friends for the simple reason that he made his debuts against him, and he enjoyed football. He enjoyed football, but he never actually, this is a story, people, he never actually played against me, because he came on the wing, to start playing, and I'm not being big-headed or anything like that, or want to brag or anything. He never got a kick, but he never got a kick because they never passed the ball to him. Bobby Charlton they were going down the right-hand side with Aston, I think it was Aston, and Campbell Crawford, because Campbell Crawford was making his debut for the Albion at that time. So they were attacking down this, and he said to me, right, I'm off, and he went and played football, and he used to play anywhere on the pitch. He'd be in defence, he'd be here. He was like a little boy just enjoying a game of football in the street, and we laughed about this. But the same year, Heather and I went on holiday to Mallorca. John Talbot, John Kay, we all went to Mallorca on holiday, and who should be there was George, because we'd all got our tickets from Doug Ellis from Aston Villa. He used to look after us. And then with George, there was Alex Stepney, there was Paddy Crerand, and George. They were all there together, but George had got a few hangers on. He'd had a couple of Manchester United people bring out his car to Mallorca, his E-type car. Everybody else had Triumph Heralds and things like that, but he had an E-type at the age of 18. And he had with him then Susan George. She was his girlfriend at that time. So, and I also had my mother-in-law, so we could go out at night, and mother-in-law. And so what George used to do is he would sit with my mother-in-law, and she'd frighten off a lot of people. So the people used to come and ask for autographs, and they must have thought he was George's mother, and they never used to stay. But he never refused anybody a photograph or an autograph. He was absolutely brilliant, and we used to have a laugh, and we had a giggle, and he loved playing with my children, Richard and Catherine, and swimming. Oh, he couldn't swim, but he used to go on the side. And a little story which makes me laugh, I know it won't make Richard laugh, they had a weeing contest. See, they got to the edge of in the evening, one evening, nobody on the beach. They had a weeing contest. See who could wee the furthest into the sea. Well, we're all rolling with laughing, being that. And he used to always ask how Richard was and how Kay was, and he always asked how Heather was. I never asked about the mother-in-law, but always about that. And as I say, we became big friends. And then later on in life, when I became player manager at Weymouth and lived at Weymouth, George used to live in Bournemouth. So I would go and watch games at Bournemouth, and George would be there. And his introduction was always say, "Hi Graham, how are you? It's nice to see you. I've still got your marks on my legs." And I used to say, "Well, George, it's nice to see you from the front. I've never seen you from the front before." And he used to laugh, and we used to have a laugh and a giggle. As I say, we'd ring up each other occasionally for a natter to see where you are and what you're doing and things like that. As I say, we became not great friends, but we were friends in as much as a laugh and a giggle, and that was good enough for me.